Welcome students, we are into our 8th lecture of the subject mechanics of solid, and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the stresses on an oblique section of a body subjected to direct stresses in two mutually perpendicular direction. Myself Shri Krishna Mishra, assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So first of all, let's have a look on the lecture objectives of today's lecture. The lecture objectives of today's lecture are: first, to get the concept of biaxial loading. Our first objective will be to understand that what is biaxial loading, what are the different types of loading arrangement. Then after, our second objective is to study about the maximum stress plane. Means we have to know, we have to get the idea about the plane which has got the maximum stress value, because the stress value changes as the plane inclination of the plane changes. So it is very important to know that at which plane we will get the maximum stress value. Then after, our third objective is to solve easy numericals based on the concept of stress on oblique plane for biaxial loading. Then finally, our motive is to get overview of different types of oblique stresses and corresponding strain for biaxial loading. So basically, the oblique section concept which we have started in our previous lecture, that we are going to continue, but today we are going to study about the case in which there is a loading along the two direction, means biaxial loading. So let's start our today's lecture. Stress on an oblique section of a body. See, the majority of engineering components and structures are subjected to such type of loading conditions which we are going to discuss today. This means that there always exists a complex state of stresses. Complex state of stress means what? This complex state of stress means that those cases where there is direct tensile and compressive stresses as well as shear stress acting in various directions. Now we shall study the nature and intensity of the stresses on planes other than that, which is at right angle to the line of the action of force. Generally, what we have done till now, we have taken any object like a bar, and we have studied only the cases in which the load was acting in one direction. All right. Now today what we will do, then in our previous lecture what we have done, if there is any single load acting in one direction, if there is any single load which is acting in one direction, then in that case we have calculated the stress value on any inclined plane. On any inclined plane means what? A plane which is not at right angle to the applied load, which is at an angle other than the 90-degree angle. So that case we have handled, and we have seen how, if the stress which is acting in this direction, if the stress is acting in this direction and we have to calculate the stress across these planes, then what will be the formula that we have already seen. Like, see, the case which we have discussed was like this. This is the load in one direction, and due to this load there is one stress which is acting in this direction. Now if we want to calculate the stress on any plane which is inclined at angle theta with the horizontal direction, then in that case, what are the stresses? One is your one stress which is normal to this plane is denoted by sigma theta, and the other stress which is parallel to this plane, which is known as tangential stress, or shear stress. So that type of stress value also we have calculated, we used to denote it by tau theta. The formula or the expression for calculating this and this we have obtained. Apart from that, one more thing we have calculated. What was that? It was the resultant between these two forces. Means if you have calculated this sigma theta and you have calculated this tau theta, then there might be the resultant value of these two stresses, means the combined resultant of these two values. So if the resultant direction is in this way, if the resultant direction is in this way, we used to denote the resultant value, we used to denote the resultant value by sigma r. And for calculating this sigma r, we have derived an expression. On the basis of that expression, we have also solved some numericals. There is also an angle, there is also an angle which this resultant makes with the normal stress, and that angle is known as angle of obliquity. This particular phi is known as the angle of obliquity. All right, this is similar to the parallelogram law of force which you used to study in your mechanics, that if you have to find any resultant, then how you used to calculate the resultant. It is very similar to it, but the formula is not exactly the same, because this always keep it in mind that stress is not a stress is not a scalar quantity, neither it is a vector quantity, it is a tensor quantity. What is it, that I will tell you later on in my coming lectures. Today's motive is to go further into this discussion. Means if the loading is not in a single direction, if the loading is not in only a single direction, means if the loading is not only in x direction, if it is in y direction also, if it is in y direction also, means you have sigma x as well as sigma y. If you have both of these, sigma x as well as sigma y, so in that situation, what you will do in that situation, how you will calculate the stress on an inclined plane, that we will calculate. How you will calculate the stress on the inclined plane, we will derive the expression for that. Means our purpose is to derive, if our purpose is to derive an expression, first of all, for calculating the normal stress across any inclined plane in case of in case of in case when there is loading across the two directions. All right, so we have to calculate sigma theta, expression for sigma theta and tau theta, similar in the similar way as in the previous lecture. And finally, when we have calculated sigma theta and tau theta, then we will get an expression for finding its resultant. So everything will be same as the previous lecture, but the only difference is that the here here there is biaxial loading. Just what I have told you right now, the load which is in two direction is known as biaxial loading. The load which acts in two direction is known as biaxial loading. The load which acts in two directions means sigma x as well as sigma y. If there is load in two direction, if there is load in two direction, then you say that the loading here is biaxial loading. All right, so never forget what is uniaxial loading. If the loading is only in one direction, if the loading is only in one direction, it is known as uniaxial loading. If the loading is only in one direction, then it is known as uniaxial loading. And if the loading is in two direction, then it is known as biaxial loading. Then it is known as biaxial loading. Like this. This is the case of uniaxial loading. All right. Because here the load is acting only in one direction. Here the load P is acting only in one direction. Now, if the load acts in two direction, if the load act in two direction, means in y direction as well as in x direction. If this is the case, these are the stresses developed due to the forces sigma x, sigma y. If such is the case, then it is known as I have told you, biaxial. It is known as biaxial loading, biaxial loading. So don't forget these words, uniaxial, biaxial. All right, now let's derive the expression. Now let's derive the expression for it. First of all, there are some sign conventions which should be kept in your mind while dealing with the problems of biaxial loadings or this complex stresses. Complex stresses are what? Complex stresses are basically those stresses where there you see all types of stresses, means tensile stress also, as well as compressive stress also, as well as shear stress also, which is acting across the plane. So that the case in which there is a shear stress also involved along with the biaxial loading that we will discuss in the coming lecture. But today, first of all, you should know what is the sign convention which is used in case of such complex stresses. First important thing is that always take the tensile stresses as positive. Means if the tensile load is given to you, consider it as positive. Positive means consider its value, whatever it is given as in plus with a positive symbol, with a plus sign. All right. And all the stresses which are compressive in nature, consider them as negative. Consider them as negative. Means all the stresses which are developed due to compressive load, you will take their value, you will use the symbol you will use the minus symbol. Means you will consider it as a negative for dealing with the numerical problems. Now, one thing should be kept in your mind, students, that these sign conventions are differently used in different books. Different books use different symbol. You will may find some books that is using compressive stress as a positive and this tensile stress as negative. But don't get confused by that, because these are just the conventions. If you take a tensile as positive, then your compressive will be negative, and generally in most cases this is followed, which I am telling to you. Then if there is any shear stress, then in case of shear stress acts in this way as you are seeing in this diagram. Means it acts across any plane, it acts parallel to any plane. So if the shear stress is acting along x direction means in this way, shear stress always acts in this way. Shear stress always act in this way, means it will be always denoted in this way. Means like a couple, shear stress always is denoted in the same way as is couple is denoted. Couple means we have seen in the couple also, we used to denote by the symbol one in this direction and other in this direction. So in the same way here also, what we are doing, the symbol shear stress is shown in this way. Like if you want to show shear stress across this y plane or along this x direction, then you will show in this way. All right, means the shear stress is acting on x-axis. Shear stress is acting on x-axis. X-axis means across y plane. See the direction, it is going upwards. No, it is going upwards. So it is known that it is acting along vertical phase, but the axis is will be known as x-axis. All right, and the stress which is acting uh, along the y axis will be denoted by this way. So first of all, sign convention, what you will take for this type of situation in which shear stress is acting along x direction, you will take you will take its symbol as positive. You will consider such type of stresses which are of clockwise nature. Like you can see these both symbols which I have made for stress along x-axis. These symbols is showing that this body is moving in clockwise direction. So such type of shear stresses are taken as positive. All right. So clockwise shear stresses will be considered as clockwise shear stresses will be considered as positive, and if there is any anti-clockwise, if the reverse is there, not if it is not of this type, if it is not of this type, if it is not of this type, if the reverse is there, reverse is there means what? Reverse is there means that reverse means that, students, if the situation is like this, that you have a body and stress is acting in this way, so this is considered as clockwise. So clockwise shear stress will be taken as positive. And if the situation is like this, you have a body and stress is acting in this way, so just you can see both are different. This first case and second case are different. In the second case, the shear stress has what type of nature? Anti-clockwise of nature. You can see it is of anti-clockwise nature. So for anti-clockwise nature, you will take negative symbol. You will take the negative symbol. You will take negative symbol for anti-clockwise. So this you should always keep in mind. All right, so these were the sign conventions which are taken. Now coming into the this particular concept of deriving the expression for biaxial loading. First of all, if the stress is sigma x, which is acting along x direction, then what will be the load which will be acting in this direction? If we denote it by px, then px we all know, if the thickness of this plate, if the thickness of this plate you are taking 1, means the cross sectional area, will be what? It will be equal to this particular side, which is denoted by AC. It is equal to what? It is equal to AC. So this particular side AC into 1 will give you area. This means that AC itself will show you area. So we are taking the thickness equal to 1, means unit thickness we are taking. Therefore, if we have to calculate the load value and stress is given sigma x, then load px will be equal to what? Px will be equal to sigma x into AC, because load by area we all know is equal to stress. So if someone has to calculate load, it will be equal to stress into area, and if area has got unit thickness, then stress will be equal to sigma into AC. All right, so from this concept, from this concept, px will be equal to sigma x into AC. All right, and in the same way, if there is a stress which is acting along y direction also, there is a stress which is acting along y direction also. So for that, what you will write? What is the length of this side? This side along y direction. The face if the face of that side is BC, then what you will write? Py means along load along y direction. It will be equal to sigma y into BC. Now forget these two diagrams. For making an easier diagram, what I have done, this particular triangle made by this inclined plane AB, across which we have to find the value of across which we have to find the expression of normal stress and and tangential stress. So this plane and the remaining two directions we have made, means finally we have made this simple diagram. Now we will focus on this simple diagram so that it becomes easier for us to understand, because these two have we have already understood. So let's simplify and focus on this particular diagram. Let's simplify and focus on particular diagram. Now in this diagram, students, you can see we have to find sigma n, means across this side AB, you have to find normal stress and tangential stress, and stresses the stresses which are acting across two perpendicular planes are sigma x and sigma y. So let's move into it. The situation is like this. Now you have a stress situation like this. You have stress along x direction, along y direction, and this is the inclined angle theta. All right, this is the plane AB across which you have to calculate the stresses. What are those stresses? Those are sigma theta and tau theta. All right, and one more thing, this is your point C. So load value we have already calculated across x and y direction. Now on the behalf of that, on the behalf of this load value, one load is in this direction. Student, please focus here. What I am telling to you, in this particular diagram, one load is acting along y direction. Its value is py. One load is acting along x direction. In this way, in both sides we may use to make the arrow, so it is acting in this direction py. So we will resolve both of them along in this inclined plane AB and parallel to AB. So if we resolve this py across 2, if this is theta, always keep in mind this angle will be theta. All right, this particular angle will be theta. Now we want to resolve py, and if this is theta and this is 90 degree. What will be the remaining angle of this direction? This you can get it easily. This you can easily get from it. What will be this remaining angle? This remaining angle will be 90 minus theta. It will be 90 minus theta, because total of these three angles will be 180 degree, and this is theta, this is 90, so the remaining one will be your how much? That will be your 90 minus theta. So 90 minus theta is this angle. Now if you have to find there is, if you have to resolve this py in two directions, if you have to resolve this py in two direction, not in this direction, in this direction, and let me omit this thing. Basically, students, what you are doing, this is your plane A, B, this is your theta, all right, and what you are doing, this is the load. We are resolving this load. As I have told you, this angle is 90 minus theta. This is load across y direction. Now you are resolving this load py across which direction? Across this 90 degree to this plane, and at this direction. So py, what is the component of this py across this direction? What is the component of stress across this direction? It will be py. It will be py. What we used to write? Py sine 90 minus theta. All right. And the component in this direction will be py cos 90 minus theta. So this 90 minus theta can be sine 90 minus theta is cos theta. So py cos theta becomes the value across perpendicular to this plane, and py sine theta becomes the value along this parallel to this plane AB. So finally, removing everything, across this direction it is py cos theta, and across this side it is py sine theta. Now the same thing will be done for what? The same thing will be done for loading across. The same thing will be done for the load which is acting along x direction. Means now what we will do, we will consider loading in this direction. Which, what is the load? Load is your px. And now if you want to resolve it in two direction, in this direction and this direction, what will be the value? It will be px sine theta, and across this direction it will be py sine theta. Now what we will do, if we want to find the total load across perpendicular to this plane AB, so this is one of the term obtained from Px, and from Py what we have obtained, from Py it was Py cos theta. So total load perpendicular to this plane is Py cos theta plus Px sin theta, and total load across this parallel to this plane will be Py sin theta, and minus, because the direction was opposite of Py. So Py is Px sin theta minus Py cos theta. So in this way we have obtained the total load which is acting along perpendicular to this AB plane and parallel to this plane AB plane. Now this load which is perpendicular to this AB plane, if we divide this load by this area AB, by this area of this plane AB, since the thickness we have taken 1, so we will divide this by AB. We will divide this by AB. All right, so we will get the stress value. I hope I will simplify this. I will omit everything and I will write it again. What I am telling to you students, that the total load which we have obtained, the total load what I am telling to you, in this direction the load, total load was what? P theta was how much? It was equal to P x sine theta plus Py cos theta. All right. Now if you divide it by AB, means this, you will get the stress value. You will get the stress sigma theta. Now this AB is what? AB is basically, if this angle is theta, this is 90 degree and this is AC. So in terms of AC, what you can write AB? You can write, you can put the here, you can put the relation of what? You can put the relation of sine. So AC by, you can write this as AC AC by sine theta in place of AB. All right, means sigma theta will be this expression. Now in this expression, this AC, now in this expression, this AC can again be written in further. It can be written further. What we have done, we have finally, first of all, let's revise. First of all, what we have done, we have calculated load along load along this side, sigma load. We have calculated load which is perpendicular to the section AB, which is perpendicular or normal to the section AB. AB is this one. All right, and also we have found the load which is tangential to the plane AB, means parallel to the plane AB. So these two expressions we have calculated. Please keep it in mind. This in tangential expression you have a negative symbol because the component of px and py had different directions. So therefore you have put a minus symbol. And since the component of px were in the same, sorry, the component of both along the normal direction were in the same same side, therefore they were had been taken positive. Now the next was what, as I have told you, for calculating stress sigma theta or stress along the normal direction to the plane AB or the section AB, what we have calculated, Pn by AB we have done. Then we have put the value of this P theta or Pn, whatever you write it. Then finally, then you have split it, you have split both of them. Your AB is what, AC by sine theta, and with this we have put here. And finally, by simplifying, by simplifying, we have obtained a relation. This is the relation which we have obtained. The relation is sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. Now this formula has to be remembered, that sigma theta is given by this formula. All right, similarly for tangential load also the same thing is done. Tangential stress which will be acting on this particular plane will be given by this load acting on this plane divided by the area of this plane. So this we have done. Finally simplifying, we have obtained that sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta is the value of stress across this plane, tau theta. Now when both is calculated, if someone asks you what will be the maximum value of shear stress, means what will be the maximum value of shear stress at any plane. So for maximum, you all know this is the expression for shear stress, and shear stress will be maximum when this will be maximum, and when will be maximum when sine 2 theta will be maximum, and sine 2 theta will be only be maximum when we know the theta, the sine theta is maximum at 90 degree, means here in place of theta it is written 2 theta. So means 2 theta will be equal to 90 degree. This means that theta is equal to 45 degree, means for at 45 degree angle you get maximum shear stress. This we have already calculated in our previous lecture also. So now what is the maximum value expression? For maximum value expression, now put this theta value equal to 45 degree here in this expression. If you put theta as 45 degree, the expression simplifies in this way. So the tau max means maximum shear stress is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2. And lastly, the final formula is that of resultant stress, and this we all know that resultant stress can be calculated by square rooting sigma n square plus tau square. All right. So these are the important formulas which we will consider now. Sigma n is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. All right, these are the formulas. The normal stress across any section AB, we have calculated it is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. And tau is what? Tau is what? Tau is your sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta. And maximum stress, how you will calculate maximum stress? Maximum stress is sigma x minus sigma y by 2, and resultant stress is this much. So this is important, students. This you should keep in mind. These are formula you should memorize. Now coming into the some example part. A point in a strained material is subjected to two mutually perpendicular stresses. A point in a strained material is subjected to two mutually perpendicular stresses, tensile stress of 200 megapascal and 100 megapascal. Determine the intensities of normal stress and resultant stresses on a plane inclined at 30 degree with the axis. On a plane inclined at 30 degree with the axis. So here what they have given to you, they have given you the value of the stresses along x direction. It is 200 megapascal. Stress along y direction, it is equal to 100 megapascal. All right. And now they are asking you to calculate the stress along any plane which is inclined at 30 degree, and this angle is given to you. This angle is given to you as 30 degree. This angle is given to you as 30 degree. All right. Now, as by the formula, we all know what is the formula which has to be used for normal stress. This is the formula sigma x plus sigma y by 2. Sigma x, I have already told you, stress along x direction 200 megapascal. Sigma y is 100 megapascal. Theta in this formula which has to be used is your 30 degree. So this you can easily calculate. All the three values are already given to you, and since both are tensile means then you will take positive sign, you will take positive symbol for both. If one of them would have been compressive, then we would have taken it as negative, but since both are tensile, therefore what we will do, we will take positive value. So this is equal to this is equal to, you can find the answer. Similarly, see here, as in the solution also you can see sigma theta we have calculated by the formula 125 megapascal, and stress on an inclined shear stress, if you calculate the shear stress, this was the formula which we have derived, and theta is, we all know, it is given 30 degree, means sine 60 degree we will calculate, sine 60 degree value you will put, and sigma x minus sigma y, you will subtract these two values, means it is 100 is the 200 is the sigma y and 100 is the sigma x. So sigma x minus sigma y will give you the value 100. 100 divided by 2, this means 50 into sine 2 theta, means sine 60 degree. So this, in this way you can calculate, it is equal to 43.3 megapascal. Now resultant stresses on inclined plane. Resultant stresses on inclined plane. For this we all know the formula is what? Sigma r is equal to sigma n ka square plus tau ka square. So from this you can calculate, it is equal to 132.3 megapascal. So coming into the next example, example number 2. The stresses at a point of a machine component are 150 megapascal and 50 megapascal, both tensile. Find the intensities of normal shear and resultant stresses on a plane inclined at angle 55 degree with the axis of major tensile stress. Also find the magnitude of the maximum shear stress in the component. See here in this question, 150 and 50 are the tensile stresses which are acting, 150 and 50. So make this diagram, in this direction it is 150. Don't write in this direction, it will be complicated. Again I am making this triangle. In this direction it is how much? It is 150. In this direction it is 50. All right. And now this angle is given to you as 55 degree. And what they are asking, find the intensity of normal shear and resultant stress on a plane inclined at 55 degree with the axis of major tensile stress. So the angle has been given to you. Similarly, as in the previous numerical, what we have done, sigma theta formula we all know, it is equal to, what was the formula? Sigma x minus sigma y by 2. What is the formula? Sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. All right, cos 2 theta. So put all the values in the formula and you will calculate the answer of sigma theta. So sigma theta you can calculate. Similarly, tau theta. Tau theta, expression of tau theta is what? Expression of tau theta, as in the previous numerical also we have done, sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta. Tau theta is what? Tau theta is your sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. Sorry, sine 2 theta. sine 2 theta. So from this you can calculate tau theta, sigma x, sigma y are given to you as 150 and 50, and theta value is 55, means sine 2 theta it will be equal to how much? You can calculate. Finally, tau theta you can calculate. After this, when you have calculated tau theta, what you will do, the next thing is that you will calculate the resultant value. So sigma r is the word used for resultant, and it is equal to sigma theta square plus tau theta square. So from this, put the values of both the values which you have obtained, sigma theta and tau theta, and you will get the resultant value. Finally, if the angle, if the maximum stress it is needing, if it is asking you for maximum stress, so I've told you that maximum stress value you get at theta 45 degree, and the expression becomes sigma x minus sigma y by 2. This gives you the maximum stress, means tau max, maximum shear stress. So tau max is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2. From this formula, you can calculate the maximum stress. All right, as you can see here, we have derived. This is the maximum stress, sigma x minus sigma y by 2. So these all formula for sigma n is equal to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta. If you memorize this one, then tau is your sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta. This all things you memorize. And the third expression, if you have to calculate the maximum stress, shear stress in any numerical, you use this formula, tau max is equal to sigma x minus sigma y by 2. Finally, the resultant is obtained by resultant is equal to whole root of sigma n ka square plus tau ka square. Coming into numerical number 3, the stresses at point of a machine component are 150 and 50 megapascal. Both are tensile. The intensity of normal and shear stresses on a plane at 45 degree with the major stress. This is the same numerical as we have done. Solution is here. You can check the answers after solving. Finally, you will get maximum shear stress value at 50 megapascal. All right, now coming into the multiple choice questions so that we will understand the concept in a better way. First is strain energy is strain. It is a question of strain energy. Strain energy is, what is strain energy? It is the maximum energy which can be stored in a body, or it is the energy stored in a body when stressed in the elastic limit, or it is the energy stored in a body when stressed up to the breaking point, or none of the above. So we all know that what is strain energy? It is the energy stored in a body when stressed in a elastic limit. Means in case of a spring, when you press it, when you compress it, then when you release that force, when you release that compressive force, what will happen? It returns back to its normal position. So the energy which is stored in a spring type of material, when it is compressed, that particular energy is known as your strain energy. So it is what? It is energy stored in a body when stressed in a elastic limit. So your answer B is the correct answer. Strain energy is the energy stored in a body when stressed in a elastic limit. Then second, the total strain energy in stored in a body is known as the total strain energy in a body. Always keep this in mind, that total strain energy that is stored in a body is known as resilience. We always say that the measure of strain energy is what? Modulus of resilience. So resilience is what? Resilience is the same thing. So whenever you come across a spring or such type of suspension materials, so in all these materials, in all these components which are used for suspension, their main property that is important is the resilience or strain energy. What is strain energy? It is the energy stored in a body when it is compressed. Then come the expression for strain energy in the MCQ number 3. The expression for strain energy is your sigma square upon 2e into v. Then comes the stress in a body if suddenly loaded is it is twice of the stress induced when the same load is applied gradually. So these are the things. Coming into our MCQ number 6, multiple choice question number 6, the stress which acts in a direction perpendicular to the area. Perpendicular to the area means if this is the stress which is acting along x direction. So if it is acting perpendicular to the area, So such type of load, as I have told you, these are known as normal stresses. Normal is the word given to the stresses which acts perpendicular to any area. So if this is the area AC perpendicular to this area, the stress will be known as normal stress. So this is the normal stress. If stress which is acting in this direction, that will not be considered as normal stress for this plane. Why? Because it is not at 90 degree. So option B is the correct option. Option B is the correct option. Coming into the MCQ multiple choice question number 7. Angle of obliquity is defined as, now what is angle of obliquity? As I've already told you here in this diagram, when you calculate for this plane AC, for this plane AB, sorry, when you calculate sigma theta and tau theta, then the resultant of both of this is your sigma r, and the angle made by this resultant is your angle of obliquity, means the angle made by the resultant with the normal stress. All right, so option, which of the option is giving you the correct one? This option D. Option D, angle between resultant stress and normal stress. This is the this is your angle of obliquity, means angle between resultant stress and normal stress. Coming into the MCQ number 7. In uniaxial loading, load acts only in, this I have told at the start of this lecture, that when load acts only in one direction, it is known as uniaxial loading, means either this, or if it is acting in this way, in only in y-axis, means only in x-axis or only in y-axis, then it is known as uniaxial loading. Only in x-axis or y-axis or any other axis. If it acts only in one axis, then it is known as uniaxial loading. Then it is known as uniaxial loading. Then it is known as uniaxial loading. All right. Now, what is biaxial loading? If load acts in two direction, means across x direction also and across y direction also, then it is known as biaxial loading. Then it is known as biaxial, means this is the case of biaxial loading, means load is acting x direction also and y direction. If load simultaneously acts in two directions, it is known as biaxial loading. So here it is, question is asking you about uniaxial loading, means only in one direction. Then coming into the multiple choice question number 8, the tangential stress is maximum if theta is equal to, now tangential stress means this is stress. If this is theta, this is your face AB, then tangential stress is this one stress. Now the value of this sigma theta is maximum when this theta is 45 degree. How we have calculated? In the expression of tau theta, you have sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sine 2 theta. Now this expression, this will be maximum. This will be maximum when this expression on the RHS will be maximum, and RHS will be maximum when this sine 2 theta will be maximum, and when sine 2 theta will be maximum when is the sine value maximum? Sine 90 degrees is your maximum value 1. If you see in sine 60 degree is less than 1, sine 0 is 0, sine 30 is half, 1 upon root t is your 45 degree angle sine, then 60 degree root 3 by 2. All right. Finally, 1 is the maximum value. So sine 2 theta means that when 2 theta is equal to 90 degree, you will get the maximum value. And when 2 theta is equal to 90 degree, this means that theta is equal to, this means that theta is equal to, this means that theta is equal to 45 degree. All right. So option, which of the option is correct? Option A is the correct option. Option A is the correct option of this particular question. Option A is the correct option of this particular MCQ, MCQ number 8. Option A is the correct answer. Then after MCQ 9, when load acts in two directions, then it is called as I have already told you, when load acts in two directions, it is known as biaxial loading. When load acts in two direction, it is known as biaxial loading. It is known as biaxial loading. All right, uniaxial in one direction, biaxial means load simultaneously acting in two direction. MCQ number 10. Young's modulus is defined as the ratio of now Young's modulus. This is a revision type of question as we have discussed previously. Also, Young's modulus is your modulus of elasticity. Since stress is directly proportional to strain, when we remove this proportional side, we put this modulus of elasticity. All right, but these strains, this stress and strains are normal strains. Means these are longitudinal stress and longitudinal strains, not the shear stress or shear strain. In case of shear stress and shear strain, we use the modulus of rigidity, not the modulus of elasticity. So these were all the MCQs related to the topic which we have discussed. Now, if you want to have some extensive study on this topic, or you want to find some study material regarding it, you can use some references books. These are the reference books which you can consider, like the Mechanics of Solid book by Cradle and Dahl, then Engineering Mechanics of Solid books by Popov, then Introduction to Solid Mechanics by Shames, then we have Strength of Materials book by Timoshenko, and then finally we have Strength of Materials by R.K. Bansal. So as a test book, you can use this R.K. Bansal, but for getting in-depth knowledge of the concept, you can use any of this book. So I hope you have got a thorough understanding of this particular concept of load, biaxial loading, and in that case when there is biaxial loading, how is the stress across any oblique section is calculated. So I hope you have got the thorough understanding. So in the coming lecture we will go through the next topic. And what will be the next topic? In the next topic we will discuss on the concept where there is a shear stress also involved. Means there is normal loading across two directions, and apart from that you have shear stress also. So this we will discuss in our coming lecture. This is the shear stress. I hope you have understood everything which has been taught to you. Thank you and have a nice day.